have here a lavender vanilla with essential oils. Perfect. Hello friends, how have you been doing? It has been a while. I know. I wanted to take this moment today to do a mid-year freak out book tag because it's the middle of the year. As we all know, June is the middle of the year, and I thought it's the perfect time to check in with y'all and come back to booktube. Real quick, I did start a book Instagram. Finally, it's been something I wanted to do, but I don't take good photos, and I also am not a frequent poster on Instagram in general, so I was hesitant, but I wanted something that was more casual than booktube where I can talk about books and what I'm reading. So that's the platform I'm using right now for that, and my handle is very close to booktube, so hopefully it's easy to remember. It's satopin reads, so if you want to check it out, please do. It's been fun looking at Bookstagram world. It's very different from booktube, like different book recommendations, which I'm loving. Different sort of vibe going on there, so it's been fun kind of chilling over there. But now I'm here in booktube world, about to do a check-in with you all. So right away, let's start with stats. I like to look at stats, it's fun. So I have Storygraph open here with me, so that's what I'm looking at over here. So let's start with goals. The goals for this year is to read 50 books. Last year it was my first time accomplishing that, so I want to try to challenge myself to do the same this year. It has not been a great start so far. I've only read 17 books, which is only 34% of the way through my goal. I remember last year, especially in the beginning, I wasn't working because I just moved to this country, so I had lots of time. I was reading lots every month, like 8 books, 9 books, sometimes 10 books. So it was a good start last year. This year, not looking good so far. I'm hoping I can catch up somehow. We'll see how this goes. Total pages read, 5,851 pages. Mood, if I'm looking at this mood graph, my top 4 moods that I like to read, it seems like emotional, lighthearted, funny, and reflective, which seems pretty right on the spot. That's kind of like what I like to go for usually, so that's great. Let's see, fiction versus nonfiction. I read 94% fiction and 6% fiction. I do want to change that. I want to see a bigger percentage of nonfiction reads. Genres, I read mostly contemporary, LGBTQ, young adult, and graphic novel. Contemporary, yes, is my favorite, all-time favorite. I'm surprised I haven't read more historical this year because I do really like historical. But I think I haven't just found the book that kind of grasped my interest so far. Yeah, so that's kind of the general stats I wanted to go over. Now let's get into the prompts for the mid-year freak book out tag. So let's get straight into it. The first prompt is best book you've read so far in 2022. Right off the bat, we're going into it. You know, because I haven't read that many books, I'm going to go with The Mountain Sings. This was the first read of this year and the only historical fiction I've read so far this year, which I, again, prefer to usually read the most. The Mountain Sings is a Vietnamese historical fiction. It's set in the 1920s, multi-generational, following the Tran family, and it's all during the Vietnam War. It really reminded me of Pachinko. That's like one of my all-time favorite historical fiction. I cannot forget about it. I do need to own one because I read that actually in Japan, and I left it in Japan when I left the country, so I do want to own another physical copy for myself. Okay, number 2, the best sequel you've read so far in 2022. So I started a series and caught up in a series, and I've loved all of them, which is Heartstopper. Everyone's talking about it right now because of the Netflix series. I wanted something that was light and cute and a graphic novel, and that's what appeared in my radar, so I picked it up, and I am so glad I did because I loved all 4 volumes. I'm not quite sure when the next volume is coming out, but I really hope it's soon. If you haven't checked it out yet, I highly recommend. Prompt number 3, new release you haven't read yet but want to. This one I have 2 books. I've already bought them right away. because that's the kind of person I am. Both of these were published earlier this year, and I went and got them right away because I suffer from FOMO. I always want to just grab like the newest release, newest everything. But what happens is I usually don't read them until way later, and everyone's read them and talking about them, and I've had the books in my bookshelf for a year. So that's what happens. But first book I'm interested in reading is Cleopatra and Frankenstein. I don't like this cover. It's kind of scary. I honestly, okay, so the two books I'm about to talk about for this prompt, I really don't know what they're about, but I just was drawn to them by their name. In the bookstore emerald, everyone's talking about this book. I'm not quite sure. I think this is like a modern romance, and yeah, I'm just excited to read this. And then this other book I got because I finally started A Little Life. I have it right here. I'm about halfway through, I think, a big chunk of it. I finally had the courage to start this. I don't think enjoying is the right word, but I'm into it. I'm into this book. I need to know what's gonna happen. So I finally started this, so I thought, you know, might as well try to read her newest book, which is To Paradise, Hanya Yanagihara. In Book People, which is one of the biggest indie bookstore in Texas, I believe, they have the signed copy, so I had to go and get it like actually the next day. So that's her signature right there. So cute, and there's like a turtle. Yeah, so I have this, which I want to get to, but again, it's so thick, like A Little Life, so we'll see whenever I get to this. I don't know when I'll get into this, but I do want to. The next is most anticipated release for the second half of the year. I have two for this as well. The first is called The Book Eaters. It's set to release on August 2nd. It's written by the Asian author. It's about a world where people eat books like food, and when they eat the books, they retain all the book's content after eating them. So for example, if you eat a map, you will have the knowledge of that area, like the directions. So that's something right away that sounds really interesting to me. I can't wait to read it. Another one I'm excited about is If You Could See the Sun, which is going to be released on October 11th. It's about a girl who goes to a boarding school on scholarship in Beijing, China, and she starts having the power of invisibility, but it's uncontrollable. She can't control her power. That sounds really interesting. I usually don't read like I wouldn't say superhero, but like magical power kind of books. I don't really usually read that, but this intrigued me, and also I really liked the cover. The cover really is beautiful. Okay, so next is Biggest Disappointment, and for this I have to say The Picture of Dorian Gray. I have it right here actually. Okay, so I have it right here. The Picture of Dorian Gray. Biggest disappointment only because I think there was so much hype around this book, and it's a lot of people's favorite classic, which I know. I will say this, for a classic novel, it was very accessible and easy to read, but I was waiting to be blown away from this book, and it was pretty meh for me the whole book. Like, yes, I have like tabs on it and annotations only because I was reading along, like book read along with a group of other people. But otherwise, yeah, I wasn't blown away. It was okay. It was alright. Okay, next was Biggest Surprise. For this one, I'm going to say Finlay Donovan is killing it. I was just randomly looking for like a fun audiobook I can listen to, which was suspense or thriller, and this just like popped up on my Libby, so I downloaded it, and right after the first chapter, I think I was hooked. The narrator did such an awesome job. It was really fun to listen to, and I believe there is a sequel, so I'm really interested in listening to the sequel as well. This one is about, I don't remember much, but it's about Finlay Donovan, obviously, and she just got divorced from her husband. She has little kids, and she's trying to become a novelist, like an author. She's writing books, but you know, not quite getting that book that will get her there. One day she's talking with her friend, and somehow things get out of control, and people overhear things and misinterpret things, and they assume that she is a hitman, like they can hire her to kill their husband. So it just goes from there. It's really, really fun. It's kind of like a Netflix show in your own head, basically. It's just so fun. So the next one was favorite new author, new to you or a debut author. For this one, I'm going to say Emily Henry. She's a new author to me. I know a lot of people love her books. I didn't know about her actually until I finally gave People We Meet on Vacation a try, and then I realized a lot of people already love her. So I really like People We Meet on Vacation. It was really fun romance book that I enjoyed. It's like a friends to lover kind of thing. It's characters that I really enjoyed reading about. So I'm really excited to read her newest book. I grabbed this as well as soon as it came out, Book Lovers. I think it's about book nerds falling in love, and what better story is there than that? That's awesome. Look at the back, there's like a stack of books. Yay. Next one is newest fictional crush. I don't have one. I don't usually have fictional crushes. The only one I used to have was Ronald Weasley from the Potter series, but that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna skip to the next one. Newest favorite character. I'm going to say Charlie and Nick from The Heartstopper. Okay, so the next one is book that made you cry. I don't have anything for this either, although like I was saying, I am reading A Little Life, so it's already very sad. So I know the other half of the book I'll probably come to a point where I tear up. I usually do not cry with books. I cry with movies, but not with books. Next one, book that made you happy. That one I'm gonna give it to People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. Again, it was just really cute, fun scenes that actually made me like feel giddy and warm inside, so it's really cute. I enjoyed it. Most beautiful book you've bought so far or received. This one, I'm bringing back old Dorian Gray. Like literally I bought this online on Book Depository. I couldn't find it anywhere else. I really wanted this edition, even though I haven't even read the book, and it's pretty. It is pretty. I don't like the page though, because the paper is like, I don't know how to describe this. It's kind of like plasticky, so it's hard to highlight. But the cover and the edge, so pretty. And last prompt. I'm going through this so fast because I didn't read that many books. I'm sorry guys. So I want to be better at this. Hopefully I'll keep myself accountable. But last prompt is, what books do you need to read by the end of this year? So I'm going to bring up this book as well, which I just bought, and again, this has been kind of in the bookstagram world, and it really inspired me to pick it up. I haven't even heard of this book. Apparently it was published last year. So this is The Love Songs of W.E.B. Du Bois. So big and chunky. But look at this beautiful cover, very colorful. I didn't know W.E.B. Du Bois is another author, so I didn't know that. I'm learning new things. And it says The Love Songs, but apparently it's not a romance book. It's more like a story of a family, following them for generations. And I listened to Honore's interviews, but she said that she had a vision about this story, and that's how she started writing this book. So that's really interesting. People have been saying that it's like a beautiful book, like such a beautiful book, so I want to read this for sure. I'm really excited to have this in my hand. Another one that I do want to read by the end of this year, I finally watched Shadow and Bone on Netflix with my husband. We both loved it, so I started reading the trilogy, the Shadow and Bone trilogy. I'm on book number 2. I do want to get to Six of Crows as well, so that's something I want to vlog for my series. I have a little bit of a series on my channel where I try fantasy books, because I'm not really a fantasy reader. But yeah, that's kind of like the series that I'm trying to finish this year. And then just in general, because now I have a bookshelf, I feel like I'm kind of uncontrollable, where I just buy books just because I want to without finishing the ones I have at home. I'm also subscribed to Book of the Month, and I've just been getting books and books and books. I've only read maybe 2 of the books that I bought so far from Book of the Month, so that's something I want to get better at. I don't know where you are in the world. Texas has been really hot. It's like 100 degrees plus every day Fahrenheit. For those of you who understand Celsius like me, I think it's like 40 degrees basically every day. So wherever you are in the world, I hope you're keeping cool or warm if you're in the other hemisphere of the world. But yes, I hope you're all doing well. I want to get better at uploading more frequently. That's like another goal of mine. I have some plans for July, so I'll be seeing you soon. Cheers!